Hitler studied and read this and believed in a superior race and felt that it was his duty, his calling, to exterminate all other races. The imbecile, you see, the poor people, those in sick houses, those in sanitariums were all killed and destroyed. The gypsies were all killed and destroyed. And then he turns his attention to the Jews. You see, and all of this was perpetrated by the fact that Hitler was a strong evolutionist. God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. This is where the fight starts. Did we come from nothing? And did we emerge from a slime pond? Or did God create us in his image? If God created us in his image, how can we enslave one another? How can we beat one another? How can we be cruel to one another? But yet, if other people are animals, just barely above that of an animal, capable of looking and acting human, that's totally different. And the way they view this, the study of evolution has affected us not only in the sciences, but has affected us in the humanities, it's affected us in government, it has affected us in the way we see human behavior and the development of human behavior. Philip E. Johnson wrote a book in 1991, Darwin on Trial. He came up with five points. Philip Johnson is a law professor at UC Berkeley. Okay, so he put Darwin on trial to see what facts he had, what really would it hold up today under the scrutiny of the UC Berkeley law professor. Number one, evolution is grounded in a philosophical belief called naturalism. The belief that a large body of evidence supports evolution is an illusion. Evolution is a religion. It's a religion. They have their priests. We have our ministers. They have their books. We have our books. They have their indoctrination in their classes. We do too. They are a religion. If evolution were a scientific hypothesis, it would have been abandoned long ago. Atheism is a basic supposition in evolution and therefore cannot be drawn as a conclusion from it. You cannot be an evolutionist and also be a deist. Now, I would be glad to talk to some of you later on when I have a chance that are deistic evolutionists. I will write to you. I will give you information. I'll help you. You can't straddle the fence. It's not possible, theologically or otherwise. And it hurts when you straddle the fence. Now I'm going to take you into the world before the flood. So hang on. You know, I forgot to tell all of you yesterday something very important. How many of you have a pair of socks on now? Now, look around quick and see who didn't raise their hand. All right, you all have a pair of socks on. I'm going to have to ask you to hold on to your socks. I mean, hold on to your socks. Because in the 11 o'clock service, when we get around to this, I have something to show you that will knock your socks off. Okay? And so we are going to have that kind of information. God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. I want to point out that the Bible says, let there be a firmament, and I'm going to talk to you about this firmament in just a minute. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. All right. Edward Bullard came up with a plate tectonics theory, which is now considered to be essentially fact. I want to show you something. Edward Bullard, this is the map that he came up with, and everybody agreed. You know, it looks like everything sort of once fit together in one great big Pangea, you see? But look at this. In order to make them fit, he had to shrink Africa by a third. He had to rotate Africa clockwise. He had to rotate South America counterclockwise. Everything is rotated. He had to get rid of the Caribbean. He had to get rid of Mexico, most of Mexico, and he had to get rid of all Central America in order to make this fit. And does it fit? This is how it kind of looks if you put it in clay. It looks like it wants to fit, but it doesn't fit. It's a square tube trying to get into a round little hole, and if you push it and shove it and shave the edges, then maybe you can get it to fit and stand back and say, look, see, it works. But it doesn't work. I want to show you something else. Hydroplate theory by Dr. Brown. Now notice the continents and notice the mid-Atlantic ridge. All of the globe corresponds to the mid-Atlantic ridge. It doesn't meet together. It corresponds to the mid-Atlantic ridge. This ridge zippers all the way around to the East Pacific Ridge, all the way around 43,000 miles around the globe. And when you look at the continental shelves off of all of the continents, and they come out, drop, and you come to the ridge, everything fits perfectly. Hydroplate theory says that the plates moved, but they moved on water underneath as they slid, as the waters of the deep came up. It's close to plate tectonics, but plate tectonics, in its purest form, as Bullard has come up with, doesn't need a universal flood. It doesn't need water to slide. It needs billions of years, millions and millions of years to occur, though. So Pangea, where Francis Bacon and the rest of them were always trying to look for Pangea and the lost continent of Atlantis and all these other things, this did not exist. This is all fantasy, so that we can tie in more of the plate tectonics that came off of this. I want you to change your thinking. And you're going to do this because you used to do it. We all did it when we were kids. We changed it. Keep your mind open to something. Here is a hydrographic globe. Look at this up here again when we get done. And this globe shows all the trenches and shows, all the recesses for the seas, oceans, the land, and so forth. I want you to turn the globe over, pretend there's a stem in Antarctica, and blow this globe up. That's the way the Earth looked when it was first made. Okay? That's the way it looked. It was no scarred up. It wasn't had trenches. It didn't have big old scoops and stuff. The Bible tells us how that all came about. But keep that in mind. And what I'm going to tell you is that the world was not 70% ocean, 30% land. It was more like 70% land, 30% ocean. You had a lot more land, all with the vegetation. Not like it is today. And so we had peoples connected, and we had oceans that weren't gigantic, but we had more like seas and inlets for all the creatures that God created in the sea. And what he did was take the earth with the crust, which is between 2 and 40 miles thick on the land. It's between 2 and 10 miles thick in the ocean basins. You have this crust. It's a lighter weight of rock that more or less floats on the surface of the mantle. The mantle is 1,800 miles thick. 82% of the volume of the earth is in the mantle. And then below the mantle, you have an outer core, 1,410 miles thick, that is a solid, liquid iron. And in the middle, you have an inner core, 756-mile radius, coming out that is solid iron and nickel. Iron and nickel solid, but on the outside, you have on the outer core this liquid iron. When God created the earth and he set the earth to spin, because the evening and the morning were the first day. So the earth starts to spin. What immediately happens in here is you form an electromagnetic field. This electromagnetic field is a computer graphic showing the energy coming in and going out in the yellow,